Have you ever been in a situation in your own game where you're working on a certain aspect and you just keep working, and you're just struggling to find the results that you're looking for? In today's episode, we sit down with Jake Hebenheimer, who discusses how he has been working on his putting for the last 8+ years and has not been able to figure it out until just recently. He shares with us his story about how he's been able to throw 400 feet since he was 13, but hasn't been able to consistently make putts. How he even finished last at a Pro Tour event because he hasn't been able to putt. Putting is such an important part of disc golf. You have to be able to complete the hole. He shares with us exactly how he figured out his own style of putt and how it's maybe not what everyone else does, but how it gets the job done in the putts are going in the basket. Jake shows us that breathing can be so critical to your putt, and to be able to calm your mind, get in a good headspace, and just focus on your stroke and not necessarily focusing on the basket. He shares with us tips like that and so much more in today's episode. You will be able to come out of this one a better putter than you were before you started listening. And if you're like me and you're looking over a 25-footer, maybe it's even a 5-footer, and you're scared of that putt, this episode should help you not be scared of those putts and give you the confidence to make more of them if you apply what Jake is teaching. If you enjoy episodes like this and you want to hear some others on putting, make sure you check out some of the links in the description below. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Disc.USA. If you want to become a better putter and if you want to train your mind to hit the basket and hit a certain point and continue to work on your stroke, then if you want to focus, putt, and repeat out on the course, you want to make sure you check out our friends over at Disc. We got a link in the description below. They'll be able to help you putt and give you the tools to become a better putter. If you enjoy the content that the Clankers podcast is putting out, leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We really do appreciate that. Like I've been saying for so long now, we've got giveaways coming at 100 ratings and reviews. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Clankers. We would appreciate your support over there and looking to give you guys some extra value as well so we can continue to build up our brand and maybe get some upgraded equipment. That's really what we want to do. We want to reinvest in our brand and continue to provide the highest quality content that we can for you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening all the way through all of these episodes and hitting us up on Instagram at Clankers. We really appreciate all the discussions we're having over there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and let's bring Jake on right now.
Hi guys, I'm Jake Hebenheimer. You're listening to the Clankers podcast.
Alrighty, everyone, you saw him on coverage. You've seen him with that unique putting style. Now we're going to learn about the unique journey behind Jake. Jake, how are we doing tonight, man?
We're doing awesome, guys.
Yeah, Jake, so the first question that I kind of want to start off with, how has your life changed since coming into the spotlight of so many more disc golfers as of late? Some incredible performance as of late. Has anything really changed for you back home?
Not really. I'm just, I'd say my life changed about a year ago, or 8 months ago, when hill slope and everything's whenever I switched my putt. So it's been on up, getting better, and my life's amazing. So it hasn't changed really. I'm just keep playing good disc golf and keep doing what I've been doing. And
yeah, that's amazing. So you said you changed your putt to your iconic style just 8 months ago. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, so it was, I guess it was 9. It was September last year, into September of last year. It was 2 days before the St. Louis Open, and I actually ended up winning. I was winning the St. Louis Open after 2 rounds, 2 days after I switched my putting style, so that kind of helped me commit fully to it. I didn't finish well the 3rd day, but still played very good.
And I won't spoil too much of it because I know some of you might be tapping in. You're like, I'm going to get all the goods right here in 5 minutes and then click off. No, we're not going to spoil the whole entire episode, but we will talk about the unique putting style, maybe how you can do it also, and how you might be able to control your nose angle in your putt, even if it's not the exact style that Jake is doing. So, Jake, I want to start off with one more question before we really get into your backstory. we talked about this with our last guest last week with Gavin Babcock. Just the difficulty with the wind in Kansas at DDO. I feel like this was the most that we've heard complaints on Twitter, on the broadcasters, maybe even some of the players as well. What was your experience like at DDO? You had a fantastic finishing on the podium. What were your takeaways of the weekend?
The third round of that tournament was the hardest conditions I have ever played in. Like the hardest to score round I've ever played in. With like, I was on chase card, so I still had cameras and a gallery, and then I had all that wind. It was like the hardest round to score well I've ever played in my life. Like the hardest round to score I've ever played for sure. And then like the first 2 days were no joke either, but that third day made them both look like
Yeah, I
pushovers.
was actually on the grounds. Went to all 4 days, and I said it last week, but I didn't realize how much of a difference. Like, I knew it was windy on Saturday, but I didn't think it was that much windier. And then I got out there and saw how everyone was shooting. And to be honest, being an amateur, it was kind of nice to see the pros struggle like we do, because we're from Wichita, so it's windy like that here. But it was fun to watch for sure, and the challenge of you guys, FPO and MPO having to really place shots, and then you at the end of the day you're throwing your most overstable disc and kind of hoping you stay in bounds, but it was still amazing to watch.
It was fun to play in because sometimes you really didn't know what was going to happen when you let it go. Like you might have felt amazing out of your hand, but that wind just decided to do crazy things that day.
So when you were on 18 on that third round, you had to make the putt to stay on lead card for the final day, or the most important day. Were you thinking about that at all? Did you know what the implications were of that putt, or were you just going for it no matter what?
I had no I had no clue what place I was in. I didn't know what score I had. I was just making the putt. I was frustrated by the upshot, honestly. It was a really bad upshot, and I just wanted my par. So I was I yeah, I wasn't even thinking about no, I wasn't thinking about my score or anything. I was just wanting to make the putt.
That's awesome to hear. I know a lot of people talk about checking their score throughout the round and stuff, so it sounds like you, even in these big tournaments, you're just focusing on the next shot and your next play. Kind of, what is your mental side like? What is that? How you play every tournament, every round?
I'm definitely getting better about it. I had a very good friend of mine be my caddy. He knew me extremely well, and we jived extremely well all week. And he took care of that mental stress of letting me know if I needed to know. If I needed to know, then I knew. Like on the last round, I knew on hole 17, and then but when I didn't need to know, it didn't matter. So, and it really didn't matter if I made that putt or if I missed it because I was still going to be on lead card the last day.
So something that is interesting, and I can't remember if you actually played with Thomas Gilbert. I can't remember if my mind serves me, but his caddy Cody Deal, he's in Wichita guy, and I was talking to him one time after a tournament, and he was talking about the importance of having a caddy and somebody there who can calm you down, keep you on the path that you need to be on, and maybe they provide some advice here or there. How important is it to have a caddy on your game? You see ball golf, every single person has a caddy out there. So it's starting to become a little bit normal in disc golf. What are your thoughts on a caddy? Is it actually important, or is it just somebody to lug around your bag for you the whole round?
It's definitely from person to person. Like some people like it, some people don't. But for me personally, I like putting taking things off my plate that I don't necessarily need, like ranging the hole, or uh, like knowing what the score is. That's a big one, or a lot of things, like just a whole bunch of things that I didn't have to worry about because I had somebody there that I trusted to worry about for me, and like I said, we talked. We stayed at the same place, so we talked every night about what we were gonna do. We game planned extremely well. I I was confident going into the rounds. And I was excited. So no bad nerves, only good ones.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you had a great plan. Is this the first time you've really done that? Was DDO the first time you really done that, or?
This year, I'm just like I'm playing like I'm not sponsored, so like I'm I either make it or I don't. Like I'm playing, I'm just having fun out there, just playing to have fun, and yeah, I've taken it so seriously in the off season. I know that I've put in more work than 90% of the people out there, and I'm just at this point, I know that this is going to be my life for the next 15 years. Like I feel like I've made it. Like I figured out my putt, and that was the only thing missing for the past 10 years of my career. So now that I can putt, I don't think it's ever going to go away, and I feel like I'm going to be a top golfer for the next 10 to 15 years, and I'm excited. And
I was gonna say I love the mentality. The confidence is great. Obviously, how did you putt just like a normal little push or spin putt before, or how did you putt
yeah,
before
I
on the
mean, I've
fly?
tried I went through it all. I tried everything. I mean, I've been playing this game since 2009, so I mean, I've been playing for a long time. I've never been a good consistent putter ever in my entire life. I've always been extremely talented and extremely motivated to get better, and putting has been like it was a mental block. I literally just thought like it was just I just had to get better at throwing. Like I was never going to be a great putter.
Talked a little bit about, so far this season, I mean, you've racked up 4 wins, and every time you've been out on the pro tour, a positive result. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you cashed at least every single time. So,
I have not missed cash this year. I've only thrown 2 rounds under 1,000. So like I'm playing extremely consistent good golf. How many tournaments do I have this year already? I have
14 so far this year.
14 already this year. So like yeah, and I've only played 2 rounds under 1,000.
Which is so incredible. And so I want to talk about, obviously, maybe it is, but when you first started, were you shooting 1,000 rated rounds? What was your first instance with disc golf? How did you find disc golf?
I mean, I won my first B tier in 2015 I was 15 years old or 16. And yeah, so I mean, I've been able to throw over 400 feet ever since I was like 13 years old. Like I said, putting has always been my weakness. I've always been able to throw shots people just have never dreamed of, and putting was I was the guy that would always be inside the circle on the 550-foot par 4 and get a par. Like it was rough for a long time, but I always like ever since I was in like freshman in high school, I feel like I've thought that I was going to be a professional disc golfer. Like the only other profession that even I would ever want to pursue is I'm really into like biology and zoology and field studies like out in like being a field researcher or something like that in South America or something crazy. That'd be amazing. But besides that, disc golf has always been my plan.
You said that you were able to throw 400 feet at the age of 13. What age did you start playing disc golf at?
So I started in 2009. I used to play golf with my dad. Like I used to hop on the back of the golf cart, and they wouldn't charge me to go play with my dad and his buddies on the golf course, and I ended up starting to get really good at golf, and then golf got a little bit too expensive, and my dad couldn't pay $100 a week or whatever it was for me to play 2 or 3 rounds, and my dad ended up finding these people that played disc golf, and he went a few times, and he's like, oh, Jake would love this. And I went out there, and I started out forehand only, but I was instantly hooked. I loved it, and I was 9, 10 years old. Then I started getting big changing point was 2010 Kansas City Wide Open. I played that was my first big tournament, I guess, and at that point I threw backhand and forehand, and I thought I was pretty good at the backhand. And after the tournament at Kansas City Wide Open, I went over to the baseball fields at right next to Swope Park, and I was trying to show off to these guys saying I could throw 400 feet or whatever, and I'm like 12 years old, 11, 12, 13 years old. And Dave Felberg just walks over and he goes, you want me to give you some pointers? And I go, please, because he won it that year. And I go, please. And he sits there for like an hour and tells me all the important things you need to know and inform, like straight reach backs and power pockets, using your hips, he just taught me a lot in a very little time, and I was a young kid, and I latched onto it, and I had very good form ever since then. So started getting really good really fast. I was best junior in the Midwest. I couldn't find anybody that would really beat me. Besides, like, I could go to Gavin. Gavin Rathbun used to be really good back in the day, or Isaac McDonald, another kid that used to be really good back in the day. But I was always bad under pressure because I could never make the putt. So I could never close out tournaments. So the only tournaments I really won were the ones where I could get up by 4 or 5 and not have to worry, and just not worry about making my longer putts. And then started becoming I went pro in 2015 after I played a few Am Worlds. I was, like I said, I have had a 350-foot forehand and a 500-foot backhand since 2015, and I just never could figure out the putt, and I would make it there here and there, and I would always shoot these crazy hot rounds, like 1040 rated rounds or 1050 rated rounds, and still miss like 5 putts in those rounds. And I knew, like, if I just figured it out, if it eventually clicked, like, one day I'm going to be one of the best. Like, I'm so talented. I work so hard on my form and all the other parts of my game, and I work hard on my putt too, obviously, and I could just never figure it out. And then I went on tour last year, full tour. I was sponsored by Persimmon Ridge, and they paid for all my tournaments and helped me make it on the road. And I went from Texas, and I literally got dead last in Waco because I was missing 15 putts around because I just had jitters. I could not do it. It was so miserable. And I did that for a year of tour, and I still got to 1,000 rated. So I was missing 6 or 7 putts around, still got to 1,000 rated, and I did that all last year and came to the end of the year, and I'm like, I guess I just don't know. I don't think I have what it takes to make it mentally. I was getting ready to. I literally was doing my FAFSA with my dad, getting ready to go to college. Like, I was done. I literally didn't think I had what it takes mentally to figure out how to putt and how to do it, and it was heartbreaking. And I was out. I had a few more tournaments left in the year, so I was gonna play them. I already signed up for them, and I was out with my buddies Brock Roller, and I was playing, and we were just messing around after the round, and I threw a few horseshoe putts just joking around from like 30 feet, and they both went in. And I'm like, huh. And Brock and my buddy Jared are sitting there, Jared Barberant and Brock Roller, and they're both sitting there, and they go, do that again. I do it again, and I make 1 out of 2 from like 25, and both of them look good. And it was getting dark, and we literally turned on the headlights and sat there and putted for like 3 hours till like 11 or 12 o'clock at night. And I figured something out, something I could latch on to and actually get the same release every time. And it was decent, and I used it 2 days later in an A tier and shot a 1040 rated round, and did it again the very next day, shot a 1040 rated round, and I was like, okay. And then, so that was at the end of the year in September and October of last year, finished out a few tournaments, played solid, and I don't think I missed more than 2 days in the off season of not playing around or putt. I didn't miss a single day of putting. I literally worked I didn't have a job because I committed full time last year to playing disc golf, so that was my job. I didn't have a job, so all I did was play disc golf every day in the winter. It didn't matter if it was 30 degrees or whatever. The only thing that kept me off the course is I love to hunt, so I would go deer hunting and stuff like that, but I would still find time to go play. It also helped that I had somebody that was going to push me really hard. Brock Roller, giving him so many shout outs tonight. He's a teacher at Capital City, a high school in my hometown, Jefferson City, and he used to be a professional NFL punter. He got signed on by the Saints. He got dropped before season started, but he was still a NFL punter, and he knows what it takes to be a professional athlete, and he knows what work ethic is and what it takes to just be an athlete. And he literally, it didn't matter if there's 3 inches of snow on the ground and it was 20 degrees outside. He would message me after he got off school, Jake, where are we putting? Like every single day. So I had somebody that was willing to push me this off season, which helped me a lot too. And yeah. So, and then we got to the beginning of this year. I was extremely confident and relaxed, and I have a lot of experience because of last year, and and all my years of playing on tour. Like, I've always played national tour events ever since like 2014 or 15. But yeah, I'm just everything's been going up. My life's the best it's ever been. I love myself, and yeah, I'm so happy. I'm just excited to keep playing disc golf for the rest of the future.
Obviously, you've been playing for a very long time, a lot longer than me, a lot longer than Quentin too. It sounds like. To help you get through that hurdle of the putt, was it all the reps? Was it finding something that felt?
It was knowing exactly what not to do. So I always focused on making the putt, and that always got me in trouble, always. And I have heard so much like the way that you become a good putter is by finding a stroke. You don't care where the putt goes at first. You have to focus on getting the same release out of your hand every single time. That is how you become a good putter. You can aim it after you can figure out how to get it out of your hand every single time the same way. But so I learned from being a bad putter for a long time what not to do. I know exactly how to be a good putter. You have to learn the stroke. So at first, I learned how to get it out of my hand, and I figured out something very easy to repeat and something that was just easy to hold on to for me. And I learned the stroke. And so now whenever I putt and I'm in pressure situations, I don't think about making the putt. I aim at the center, or I aim at a chain link. I aim at whatever sticks out to me in the center of the basket. And then I I focus on my stroke. I focus on doing my stroke as good as I can every time and making sure it's a good release. I don't focus on where the disc goes per se. Focus on getting my hand in the right position.
So, can we take two steps back and can we talk about what were the styles of putt that you were doing? And then could you maybe break down the style of putt that you do now in case someone hasn't seen it or they're not exactly sure what we're talking about?
Nico was a big person around my area. Like I said, it was Jefferson City, so it's like an hour and a half away from St. Louis. He taught me a lot. Like I've known Nico since 2011. So, like I've known Nico for a really long time, and he's been a pretty big role model, like not friend. He's been a great friend for a lot of years. So, I used his putt, like the straight arm, like I did that for most of my career, like a pitch putt with coming off the hand with a straight arm. And then last year on tour, I figured out I was putting a lot like straight from the chest spin putt, like almost like between like Matt Oram and like a spin putt from the chest, anyways. And that worked close distance, but under pressure it was bad because I would jerk right or release left, or it was bad. Now I kind of do what the Nico style putt with the straight arm, and the release is the same as what I used to do, but now it's just so much more consistent because of the. I don't know. I don't know if it's because of the step or because I learned it with the step, but like all the pressure that I used to feel whenever I step up to the putt, I don't feel anymore. I get to step into it and it's full commit. I don't get to back out at all. Like it's the same straight arm and release with the fingers at the very end, but I just have the timing down so much better now with the horseshoe style that I putt to the right side of my hip. So it's a horseshoe style putt. I step with my left foot. I keep my wrists locked, and I make sure to just fire the fingers at about 3/4 up, and it makes sure that I follow through and keep my fingers and palm to the sky. Those are the kind of the things I think about whenever I'm putting.
you took all the stress off of making the putt and you turned it into just focus on making my routine as flawless as possible.
I've had help from so many people. Like Paul Ulobari has worked with me. Ricky Wysocki has worked with me. My best friend Zach Johnson and Emerson Keith and like all these guys have tried to help me throughout the years because I've said, I've always had talent, extreme talent throwing the disc. I've always been so good at throwing the frisbee. I've worked with them all, and every single person has gave me extremely good tips that I guess in the time I just couldn't use. But now I get to use all that knowledge from what Ricky was telling me. And Paul always told me, worry about what you can do, not what happens after the disc leaves your hands. So like I only think about what I can do. I don't care about what happens after the disc leaves my hand, because after it leaves your hand, there's literally nothing you can do. Like it's already gone. Like you've already thrown it. So like right after you let it go, it's pointless to get mad about whatever.
So I really like a lot of that, and I think that when you putt, like just typically starting out, I feel as though everyone is told to do their best push or spin putt. Like the horseshoe style putt isn't even literally a thought. And honestly, I hadn't even thought about it until literally here's what happened. I watched Scott Stokely's one of his like last YouTube videos where he was talking about his putting and he talked about the horseshoe and I said, wow, that would be funky. I've never seen anyone do that. And then I literally saw you do it on live coverage like the same day or something like that. And I was like, whoa, what the heck? This is a thing. I know a friend of mine who is into like just not, he doesn't always do everything the exact same way everyone else does. He kind of like tries to find his unique way to do things, and I guarantee he would love to try to do this putting style. How difficult was it for you to go from something you've done, what, 8-ish years of putting-ish like, to then something completely brand new? Like, how long would you expect somebody who's going to try out this new horseshoe style of putt, how long would you expect for it to take them to pick up what you know now?
I would say I'm a really weird case because I was instantly better at horseshoe putting than I was at regular putting. It was instantly better. Like it was like I wasn't three putting, I wasn't like missing the 15 footers. Like everything was honestly better, and like so it was easy for me to fully commit to it and like get to practice it every single day and like put a whole bunch of time into it because I knew that it was going to be better than what I had previously had. Like, and I had, like you said, I had 8 years of experience of knowing that I've never been a confident putter. Like, it's never been even slightly good. So right whenever I saw a glimmer of hope, I went full in. I I completely latched onto it and became as good at it as I could possibly think of. And like I knew the motion. I'm really good at, so everybody keeps saying bags or horseshoes or whatever, but I really learned it from washers. Like if you've ever played washers in like the box and there's a PVC pipe in the middle and you're trying to throw the washer into the PVC pipe. My grandpa used to play that a lot back whenever I was a kid, and I'm the oldest cousin, and I have a whole bunch of other younger cousins, and we used to hang out at grandma and grandpa's house. It was the spot. So so we used to play a lot of washers, and I was the oldest, so I had to be the best at everything, obviously. And so I practiced washers a lot, and I got really good at that motion. And I'm really good at bags, and I'm really good at horseshoes and all of that, but yeah, it all came from washers.
You were talking earlier a little bit how you would say that you were just kind of aiming at the center ish. You didn't really have a point of contact that you were aiming at. So, two notes on that. One, this show is sponsored by Disc Dot, which Gavin Rathbun is on the team. I know you know him a little bit. And it really helps because, you know, you can visualize a part of the chains to then hit in your practice, and you're just mentally makes it then easier on the course and a bunch of other stuff. Promo code's in the description below. Check it out. So for you not using that, I mean, maybe you have used it and I don't know, but like, would a tool like that, do you think that would benefit your game at all by being able in your practice to have more of an isolated point at aiming at? Or like, do you ever like find yourself moving your aiming angle? Like when do you decide those kinds of things?
I definitely pick a precise point on the basket. I just don't pick the same link or something like that. I pick whatever like is easiest for me to focus on, closest to the point I'm aiming. So my putt goes high right to left a lot, so I have to aim a little bit higher and right. Like I said, I focus on my release, so I'm focused on like finishing higher and righter a lot of times. So like I'll aim for different points. Sometimes I won't even aim for the basket. I'll aim for a leaf or something in the background, or like just like something more of like what I'm aiming for with my release instead of where I want the putt to go. Um, but like if there's like orange tape on the basket, a lot of times I really zone in on the orange tape, or if there's glow tape or something like that. If there sometimes if I'm hitting low on the basket, which is a big problem of mine, I release early a lot of times and will hit low. I will A lot of times there's a nickel, or there's like orange tape on the nickel, or there's like a lot of times there's like just anything that I can really zone in on that like stands out to me in the place that I want to aim. So I wouldn't say I aim for a chain link, because every time it's different. I'm aiming for my stroke. I'm not aiming for the disc to hit the center every time.
So, talk to me a little bit about nose angle then. How important is that on your putt, and how does that change when you have a headwind putt versus a tailwind putt?
So I found that in headwinds, my have had to completely relearn wind in the past 8 months. My putt is so nose down. Putt consistently drops, and in tailwinds, it consistently raises. So the hardest wind for me is a right to left tailwind, because it will literally, if I miss the basket, it is sending it to tomorrow. It is 40 feet away, and it's a long comebacker into the headwind. Anything left to right, I am extremely confident that I'm going to make. If I step up to a 30-foot putt and it's a left to right wind, I almost count it in my head before I even throw it. Like I am extremely confident. Headwinds, it's very angle dependent. Like you said, I have to make sure that I'm popping it up nose down, and I'm throwing it at the nickel or higher, and I'm trusting the disc to drop. But I have to make sure that it's flat, because if it's on hyzer, then sometimes it nose ups and goes left, or it'll do weird things. Yeah, right to left is my nemesis wind. I've had to relearn it all. It's been quite the journey so far. It's exciting that I'm only 8 months in and I've figured it out this well.
The biggest thing that I have for myself when I'm stepping up to a putt is sometimes I just literally cannot get my mind to shut up, and I just overthink the putt, overthink the putt, overthink the putt. Oh, it's 40 feet away now. And I almost step up to the putt. Sometimes I'm like, I really don't want to miss this putt because I'm scared of the comeback putt. So in a situation where you get the nose up a little too much and now you're 40 feet past the basket, how do you calm yourself down enough to be like, this is pretty much the same putt I just did. Now I have a more favorable wind. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you collect yourself again and make more comebackers?
It's breathing. I literally only focus on the sensation of the air going in and out of my nostrils. That is the only thought in my head. It's the only thought I allow in my head. It's literally, if I am nervous and I feel doubt and I have bad thoughts, because like something I have had to work on extremely hard, because like that has been my problem. I would think that I would miss before I even threw the putt. Like, what are you doing? There's like, you've missed this so many times, so many bad thoughts. Everybody gets the bad thoughts. It's like, so anytime that I have any lack of confidence at all, it is straight to my breath and straight to the sensation of air going in and out my nose. That is all I focus on, and it has helped me so much, so incredibly much, because it allows me to turn my brain off and just throw the putt, and it works so well, and it's so amazing. And I've been practicing it for like, I learned it last year from the Persimmon Ridge people. Steve Jones he's amazing. He taught me like a lot of things. Well, okay, stop. I started doing meditation because of Nate Perkins posting something on his Instagram. So I want to make sure I'm giving the right shout outs. I did it because of Nate Perkins. But I became like I did it a lot and became very routine about it whenever I moved to Persimmon in February of last year. And I'm extremely into yoga. I don't meditate as much as I used to, but I'm extremely into yoga. I'm extremely into stretching. I like feeling good and I like feeling loose, and I'm like how relaxed I am.
I think what everyone can take from this is if they want to adopt the horseshoe style putt, I think they've got the tools to be able to do so. And I think if they just want to improve their putt how it is now, I think they've also now gotten a little bit of tools that will help them other ways. So I think there's two different ways that people have gotten some value out of this. So that's fantastic. That's definitely something that we, try to accomplish. So let's get into a little bit of the fan questions that we have for you. So I'll go ahead and I'll kick us off here. First question that we have is going to come from DG48445. This question says, when is Jake not going to be the blank head kid we all know him as? Laughing face emoji, laughing face emoji.
I don't know. I'll probably be the same as I always have been. Never grown up, so.
Ja Bryant says, when are you bringing disc golf to England?
When am I bringing disc golf to England? I don't know. I have big plans for the future, and I'm excited, and hopefully I'll be in Europe and over the seas next year. So we'll see what happens. I'm just excited to keep playing good disc golf and see how good I can get, and as fast as I can get. So.
Yeah. Next question we got for you comes from Fleming, 186160. What did your peers think as you developed your cornhole putt?
Well, my peers got to see me before the cornhole, so they were extremely encouraging. It was, like I said, it was instantly better. You can instantly see my scores get lower, and everything about my game was better. So, they were extremely encouraging.
Paulie31, will you be playing in the Four States Open this year in Joplin?
Yes, I will definitely be playing in the Four States Open this year in Joplin. I would really like to win an A tier this year, if not more than one. So I am going to play as many smaller A tiers as possible. I got a lot lined up. So.
Final question from me. Who is your, I know you said earlier you were not a sponsored player. Who is your dream sponsorship if you could get one?
Wow, that's tough.
I don't think I don't have one. It's more of who's gonna treat me the best, and who am I gonna grow my brand with, and who am I going to be like. I can throw any disc. I'm really good, so I can figure it out. But it's more about like how. This sounds bad, but like how much money I can make, and how comfortable I can be, and how I can become the best, because that's my real goal. I'd like to be the best disc golfer in the world one day, and it'd be really cool if I could be the best disc golfer with the only person putting the way I do. So I'm very driven towards that right now, and I just want to get better, and I'm getting better so fast, and it's cool to watch.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And I think the more that people get to see your putt, I feel as though more people are going to try to copy your putt. Just like with anything in life that's working, people are going to try to copy that and see if it can work for them, see if they can improve it. So it'll be cool to see other people. You can see people who are 15 right now listening to this.
People have already been mentioning me in their videos. I've seen a guy ace with a Avenger SS from like 120 feet away with a horseshoe. I mean, people are sending me all sorts of videos.
Yeah, which I mean, we had some more fan questions, but they were just continuously to talk about the putting and all that stuff. And I feel like we covered most of it. So I think we're going to get off of the fan questions. Thank you guys so much for sending those in. That makes the show a lot more fun. Hopefully you guys like them as well. So make sure you are following us on Instagram at Clankers. That way you can submit fan questions for the next interview that we have. But Jake, hey, let's get to your hot take. What do you got for us?
Okay, I don't want to bash on companies' baskets, but I'm going to. It's hard to just watch dead center spit outs, and it's hard to watch cut throughs, and it's hard to watch just weird things happen on different baskets, and each basket does something different, and it's sad that we have to play major tournaments on these courses like Worlds, and it's hard to watch. So in the future, I know it's going to happen. next year. I don't know if it's next year. I don't know if it's in 2023 or 2024. But the Disc Golf Pro Tour is going to get 18 or 19 baskets they put in a trailer and that they just carry around and they take to each course and they put them in the ground at each course where it is a standardized basket that we play on every single week because it's hard to watch people like it's just hard to watch money like people are trying this is a professional sport and people are it's their job. It's like a lot of people's jobs. It's my job, it's my life, it's a lot of people's life. And whenever we can't trust a basket to catch from 15 or 20 feet in a dead center putt and perfect, you can't ask for better. And whenever they spit, it's hard to watch. And we need a standardized target for sure for the pro tour, just the pro tour, not on every course or whatever, just for our professional pro tour.
Which, I mean, makes sense. The NBA has standardized baskets and basketballs. The NFL has footballs, baseball, bats, baseballs, pitching mound, bases, all those things. Every sport at the professional level has some sort of standardization. So I completely agree that the pro tour should carry around 20 baskets and just use them as needed. So the hard hitting question here is, which basket should they use?
Has to be not a company. Can't It has to be pro tour designed. It has to be somebody at the pro tour designs a good basket that catches fairly and doesn't have spit throughs and doesn't come off the pole because those are the two main ones. We can't hit dead center and it come back at us. Like we can't. That takes away our confidence and we don't know what to do on the next one. Like should we put it softer and try to hit the same spot or like what do you do? So um, that is a big deal. And then cut throughs. I think Mach X and Prodigy kind of has it figured. I mean, I still think Innova 28s are the best basket by far. And if they used one next year that they couldn't design a new basket, Innova 28s would definitely be the ones to go. But I mean, I think Mach X's are a little bit too big in my personal opinion. They're a little bit too wide. If they brought the chains in on 2 inches on each side and kept the cage the same size, I think it would be perfect. But I think the Pro Tour just needs to come out with a design that is a disc golf Pro Tour design basket or target, and that's what we use.
Having manufacturers like, I don't know, like NFL, it's a Spalding football. Baseball, it's Rollins. Like have it be like a contract for 2 seasons. You're gonna use veterans, and then the next 2 seasons it's gonna be DGA Mach X's, and then the next 2 seasons it's gonna be Disc Golf Pro Tour is gonna make their own. Whatever it might be, because that idea is it might add money to the purse at each tournament, could make it more legitimized. Different. There's different positives to that. But I also
If you do that, then you have to have a standardized design then. Like because like some designs definitely work better than other designs at different things, like coming off the pole or going through, like I said. So then you'd have to have a same design.
what if you knew every tournament? So like right now you play with, I don't know the Prodigy basket names. So one tournament you're playing with Prodigy baskets, the next you're playing with the Innova 28s, the next you're playing with veterans, then you have maybe 3 tournaments of veterans, and you go back to Prodigy basket. What if would you be able to? I know the spit outs are terrible and they're not fun, obviously, and the cut throughs, all that. But would it make a difference if you knew it was consistently going to be a veteran at every tournament? Then you would adjust.
You're picking veterans, so you're making it hard for me. But they have dead center spit outs, and they get cut throughs more than most other baskets. And I I would not like to play a world championships on veterans. I'm sorry, the galvanized chains didn't change it that much, and the light chains are so bad, and they just have to change something about it. I don't know what to say about it, but it's like they just have so many spit outs, and it's hard to watch whenever Gannon Burr's on my card and I watch 3 different spit outs. I'm like, well, buddy, it's not your day. Like, what?
We have a lot of those baskets in the area and we're getting more of them. And so when we see things like that, it's like, oh, wow, hey, other people do the same thing we do. It's not just us. Where, like, I think people who don't always have that kind of disc golf are like, this is ridiculous. Why is this happening? And you know what?
And the wind just
Yeah, the wind doesn't help.
makes it
The
way
wind does not
worse
help it
too.
at all.
No.
But I will say, we went from some sort of Trent. Maybe you would know what the baskets were at Millbrook. I just call them trash cans personally because I think
They were like Mach ones or something, like the
they're
first
awful,
EGA.
literally
I
garbage.
learned on
They're
Mach 1,
garbage.
so I
Hey,
So
understand.
bad.
I thought they caught
But
all right.
No, no, you if you hit left or right, if you did not hit the pole, you were not going in. The ones at Oak, I don't know if those are different.
Those
They
are
are.
Mach X's.
Okay, those are fine. Those are fine. But the ones that were at Millbrook, those were absolute garbage. But now that we have veterans, I feel better about that. But also, I understand that if I hit, you know what I'm saying. You get a bad hit every now and then. But also, I think that just happens, and it is what it is. But I agree. At the end of
it happens with every basket. It happens with every basket. For sure. Like sometimes you're just going to come off the pole, but you don't see you don't see confident putts come off the pole on Mach X's, and you don't see them come off the pole on Prodigy T2s, the ones with the mesh. Like it seems like they got that part of it figured out because it seems like your putter just doesn't hit the pole and come back out. Like sometimes if you're like a hyzer putter or like even a little bit of angle, like you will literally hit the pole before you touch a chain on some baskets. Even with Innovas sometimes, if you're angled the right way and you throw a putt, it will literally come off the pole before it even touches a chain. So I think the mesh is a really good way to go. I don't know if you guys have seen the new MVP baskets, but they have a lot of chains, and I would really like to putt on them. I don't know what they.
I'm so glad that you said that because one of the new courses that was built out here, they put MVP baskets on there, and literally the very first ever time I putted on it, I said, "Oh yeah, that's missing," because it was high and right. And normally on the baskets we play here, I'm like, "Yeah, I know that's not gonna catch," and it caught, and I literally turned around and said, "Oh, these baskets are built different."
See, that's a problem though, because I kind of agree with Ezra and Paul and all of them that the baskets need to be smaller. So like we need that design just like half the size. Like maybe not marksman size, but like a little bit in between marksman size and regular size.
And you put that on the pro tour, on everywhere else. I don't
That's
care.
part of the that's what
Make them bigger. Make them bigger at your local park. I don't care. Make them another foot bigger if you want because it'll be easier and more people will want to play disc golf. And it's just like look at baseball, right? You play your pee wee baseball, and every single time you move up, it gets a little bit harder. The bases get a little bit further. The pitching mound gets a little bit further. The ball's a little bit heavier. Whatever it is. So like it would make sense as you get better the basket gets a little bit more difficult. Why does the 3 point line get moved back from college to the NBA? We can do that in disc golf.
I definitely agree, and that's what I think. That's why it has to be a disc golf pro tour design because I feel like they could just do everything that we need to happen and make a really, really, really fair basket.
I
Target.
think it'll be a thing in the next like 5 years.
Oh, easy.
Maybe
I
3
think it's gonna be
years.
before
maybe
that.
I
3 years.
honestly,
It's
I
gonna be
wouldn't be
before that.
shocked if they came out this offseason and said we're doing this
How long
basket
have you guys been playing disc?
4-ish years.
Yep, same.
Disc golf has changed so much in the past 5 years. It is just insane to watch. Like we didn't like. They're just. It was hard to make it on tour if you weren't a top 10 player last year, like or 10 years or 5 years ago, and it's just so much money and disc golf is changing. The disc golf pro tour and all this stuff is happening so fast, and I just feel like we're going in the right direction so fast. I feel like baskets will probably be next year. I feel like drug testing is coming in the very near future. Like a lot of good. I'm just good things to make this sport professional is happening really really fast, and yeah, I don't think we're gonna have to wait very long for this sport to become real and get on TV and have 50,000 live viewers or more, maybe 100 million live viewers. Like if not in the next 10 years, maybe in 5 years. Like we have no idea. It just is. It's so much cooler to watch a disc fly than watch a ball fly. Like it's so much cooler to watch a disc fly through the woods than watch a ball fly over the trees and onto a green fairway. Like we throw so it's so insane what professional disc golfers can do with frisbees. It really is. Like the angles that we can throw and how far we can throw them and what we can actually do with the disc. It's so incredible and fun for me at least. It's so much fun to watch, and yeah, I just feel like the sport's just gonna grow and the money's just gonna come in, and I'm just excited to be part of it for the next 10 to 15.
And you're going to be the guy with the crazy looking horseshoe putt that no one else does, just running wild out there.
Yes, I am. I'm very excited.
Yeah, hey, I'm very excited about this interview. I think this has been fantastic so far. Learned a lot, had a good little discourse there. So let's get into the final segment of today's show, the ACE round. These are the same 5 questions that we ask all of our guests. That way we can see the differences and, maybe learn a couple of stories along the way. So, Trenton, why don't you start us off with the first question?
All right, my man. First question is, you are taking a beginner to get their first 3 disc golfs. First 3 disc golf discs. What mid, putter, and driver are you recommending?
So I'm not gonna give a shout out to any company, but as long any putter works. It doesn't matter the putter unless you're grabbing a Crystal Zone or something. Like if you have a baseline putter, you can putt and throw and use it. Like honestly, if I took somebody to get discs, I would just give them any starter pack. If it was a DD starter pack, or if it's an Innova starter pack, or if it's anything, because they have a DX putter, a DX mid that beats, like whenever you're a new player, you don't throw discs as hard, so they don't get beat in as fast. So whenever you can use a DX disc, and a lot of people don't have the strongest arms, so they need understable discs. So like they beat in fast for them, they will fly. Like you will learn to throw a disc correctly with understable discs. So any starter pack will work.
That's a fantastic tip, by the way, because I don't think Quentin, you've probably heard it. This is only my second interview, but I started out with premium plastic, and I wondered why why I could never throw anything like Ricky or Paul or anybody. And then I never went to the baseline. You're saying DX, so the people who don't know, DX is just Innova's baseline, but just a baseline plastic. So if you're at a shop, just tell somebody you want baseline plastic, and they'll point you in the right direction. But and then after like 3 years, I finally started throwing understable stuff, and now it's like all I want to throw because I've figured out how to actually throw it. So just wanted to call that out real quick.
Second question we got for you. What is the favorite course you have played and one course you have not played, but you want to cross off your bucket list?
My favorite course, honestly, pretty much by far, is Harmony Bends, my home course in Columbia, Missouri. It's not my home course, but I play it like 3 or 4 days a week, and it is incredible. I can't wait till the Mid America, and I can't wait. It gets flooded, and it's really sad because we haven't been able to play it for the Mid America for the past 2 years, and it's really upsetting. But whenever the course is nice and new, it is better than any course on the Disc Golf Pro Tour besides Maple Hill and Green Mountain. I think those guys are pretty much considered the best courses on tour. I would say that it's up there as a top 5 course in the country and top 10 course in the world. So excited. If anybody hasn't played it, I strongly recommend coming to play Harmony Bends. There's 3 different pads, reds, whites, blues, and it will blow your mind. It's incredible. And then any course that I've wanted to play is Maple Hill. I really, 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 really would like to play Maple Hill, and I really don't know how to get into Maple Hill this year or what the playoff situation is like. I'm top 30 in Disc Golf Pro Tour points right now, so that's a good thing. So hopefully I'll be able to play Preserve and stuff by then. So I have a feeling I'll be able to play this year.
Knowing what you know now, what is one tip you would tell your beginner self?
I would tell my high school self to take it as seriously as any high school athlete takes a high school sport. If I would have had somebody to make me go out and practice 2 hours every 5 days a week and actually treat it like a high school sport, I wouldn't have needed to learn a horseshoe putt because I would have been good enough to figure it out. I would have figured out the putt, and I would have gained confidence through my hard work, knowing that yeah, it wouldn't have mattered because I would have figured it out. But I just wish I would have put in the hours like a high school football player does, where they're going to 2 a days and they have to weight lift, and just it's so upsetting that like there's no coaches in disc golf or anything. Like you can't like take your kid to a camp and or something like that, or God, it's just so upsetting. And if I would have known what I know now, I would have spent every like waking hour playing disc golf and learning. And like nowadays, like, so I feel like I work about 80 hours a week on disc golf. I know like I don't like necessarily work. I'm not playing disc golf 80 hours a week, but I might play disc golf 30 hours a week, and I play a lot of mental rounds where I imagine myself playing rounds on courses, especially every night before I play a tournament. I always play a mental round, and so that takes usually close to an hour if I do it right. And then I watch coverage all the time, so that I count that. And like I'm just always thinking or doing something related to disc golf to make me better, or like give me advantage in disc. I stretch, I do, like I said, I do yoga, and I just so much stuff that I consider working towards disc golf. And so like I just wish I would have put that time in back then.
I love it. I think hopefully those 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds who are listening now, or maybe you're 25 and you really want to take it seriously, you can take this advice and treat it like something that you would in high school or you would have in college or whatever. So absolutely love that. Fourth question we got for you. What is the favorite memory you have had while playing disc golf?
Probably GBO. Or DDO, sorry, getting third. But besides that, going to Prince Edward Island in Canada, playing the Canadian Nationals 2 years ago, that was incredible. Or the year before COVID. But yeah, that was incredible.
And the final question, what is the biggest mistake you see new players make?
Run-ups. I feel like if everybody started just by throwing standstills, everybody would be so much better at disc golf, because whenever you start as a standstill thrower, you learn form so much better, and how to use your hips and just how to use your body in a throw, and like knowing like you can work on little things if you're in standstills. And yeah, if everybody just started from a standstill when they first started playing disc golf for the first month to 6 months of disc golf, everybody would be so much better.
Yeah, I love that one, man. I think everyone can go to that and their game can almost instantly improve. They'll figure something out. The timing will get better, all of that stuff. So love that tip. Hey, Jake, this was so much fun. Really enjoyed getting to know you and learning more about your story. Where can people continue to follow your story online?
So just I'm starting to get a lot better about my Instagram. I'm super bad about social media. Like right now I'm focused on getting better at disc golf, but I'm gonna get better at the social media part and growing my brand, like I've talked about, and so that's coming soon. You can follow me at Instagram at Jake Hebenheimer. That's my @ and Facebook or whatever you want to follow me on. That's gonna be it, Jake Hebenheimer. So yeah, hopefully I start a YouTube channel here soon. But yeah, just go follow me on Instagram. And
Thanks so much, Jake, for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate your time this evening. If you guys have enjoyed this podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening to us from. Leave a like rating, comment down below. Are you going to switch to Jake's style of putting, or are you going to continue to do a spin or a push style putt? As well as if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, drop that 5-star rating and review. We'll see you guys next week.